Batman number 5, written by Scott Snyder, art by Greg Capullo. We left off last issue with Batman getting a hunch as to where he could find some clues, and he accidentally gets tricked into a labyrinth that is hosted by the Court of Owls. This issue is literally just that. It's just the labyrinth for the entire thing. There's a couple cutaways, but it's mostly labyrinth. So this issue picks up on top of the GCPD. Gordon's up there with the bat signal, and Harvey Bullock comes up, and he's like, you're going to burn out the signal if you leave it running. It has been 8 days, and Batman has not shown up. So we get the hint that Batman has been there for a while, but he's like, you got to turn this thing off because it preserves some energy. And Gordon's like, no, we got to leave it on. It's not just to call him. It's a symbol of hope and blah, blah, blah. And he goes through how all the people who are on his side and on our side and whatever, and it's to scare away the criminals or whatever. But it just cuts away, and it shows like Damian and Batgirl and Catwoman and Alfred, how they're all worried and trying to find Batman in their own way. So Gordon just tells him, okay, leave it on. And then we go down into the labyrinth, and it's hard to break this down like scene by scene here, because it is literally Bruce Wayne losing his mind this entire time. And you're going to think, as I go through this, that I don't know how to read a comic, because if you're watching the video, I'm going to be turning it all upside down and stuff. But it's part of the craft. So he's down there, he's going around in the dark, and he's trying to find his way either out of the labyrinth or to the Court of Owls, just to beat the crap out of him. And he keeps coming back to this giant owl fountain, and it's his only source of water, and he's been here for 8 days, so he keeps on drinking, despite the fact that he knows he shouldn't. It's probably drugged, but he has to, just to stay alive. So he goes back through the labyrinth again, and he keeps on coming back to another room that, as he enters it, a flashbulb goes off, takes his picture, and he sees that the walls are covered in hundreds upon hundreds of pictures of other people that all look like they've gone through absolute hell. And Batman managed to put together, these are all the people that the Court of Owls has killed over hundreds of years, either down here in this labyrinth or just in general. Like, they took their picture, put them on the wall, and kept them as trophies. But Batman, he's pissed off, and he's like, I'm not going to listen to your stories, you're not real, and he punches out the camera, because that's all he can punch right now. And he keeps moving through the darkness of the labyrinth. He thinks he sees the Court of Owls at one point. He dives after him, and it turns out either it's in his head or it's a trick that they're playing. But he immediately dives to the ground trying to find something, and his monologue just keeps breaking down. He's like, I know all the tricks. Hell, I invented the tricks. And sooner or later I'm going to find you and I'm going to beat you up. I'm going to hide in the dark. And then it turns sideways. Like, everything is this way now, of reading a double-page spread, but it's from left to right, is now top to bottom. So he's like, there's a room with a miniature Gotham in it, and he's just making his way through that. There's all these names on the wall, and they don't really show any of the names specifically, but we do see the last names of Cobblepot and Gordon, so I don't know what you want to make of that. Regardless, the Batman doesn't know what they are either. It's like either the people you used or people in your flock or enemies you killed. Regardless, I've heard this story before, and I'm not listening now. So then he makes his way into a new room, one he hasn't seen before, and it's a bunch of caskets all embedded in the ground, and they all have photos of children on them. But one of them is open, and there's nothing inside. And Bruce is like, what does that mean? Maybe, and he's like, nope, I'm not giving into your stories. Nope, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to get out of here. I'm not going to worry about your stuff. And this entire time, his cape just keeps on growing, like, impossibly long. Then he gets into a room that just has, like, the front half of a boat with an owl in the, like, I forget the name of it, but, like, the mast of it, that, like, thing in the front. Usually it's a mermaid or whatever, but this one's an owl. He punches out the owl head after he thinks it's looking at him. He ends back up in the photo room. He has no idea how. He thinks he sees a picture of himself. The camera is repaired, despite the fact he punched it out. And then as he's maneuvering down the hallways, he steps on an egg, and the hallway lights up. And we see that the hallway is covered in eggs now, but down at the end is an elderly Bruce Wayne's parents, Thomas and Martha Wayne. And they're like, oh, we've been down here for so long. Is that really you, Bruce? Oh, and he's like, Mom, Dad, I can't believe you're alive down here in this terrible labyrinth for so long. But yes, it's me. It's your son. And then we flip the book again 90 degrees. So now we're reading it just upside down. And it's revealed that, of course, this isn't his parents. This is some sort of hallucination or something, because his mother's jaw dislocates and an owl comes out and starts attacking him, but then he just concentrates. He realizes it isn't real. He's back in the fountain room. Now his feet have turned to talons and his hand have feathers and claws on them, and he pries up one of the tiles on the floor and jumps down inside of it, to which he ends back up in the camera room again. And he's just like, nope, this isn't happening. I'm not listening. And as he's just holding his ears, screaming out to nobody, we see the Talon, who's been, I guess, stalking him this whole time, comes up behind him and just stabs him straight through the stomach from behind. And then we go back to right side up, and we see that the bat signal has burned out. It is on fire. Some cops are rushing to put it out, and officer asks Gordon what they should do with it. And Damien drops in on the scene, and he's like, get a new one. Now. Get a new one. And he gets sad for a second. He's like, please get a new one. And it's just Gordon and Damien staring at the burned out bat signal as we end the issue. This was fantastic. Do I really need to tell you that? Like, this was fantastic. My only critique is not with the comic itself, but with the trade, because when I flipped it upside down, you don't then read what looks to be page 1, page 2. You're supposed to read page 2 and then page 1. And I think it would have been better if they changed that, because I started reading page 1 and then I was like, wait a minute, hold on, that's not right. That's my only critique, is that it just, because of the way that they put it in the trade, it doesn't flow properly. But the comic itself is fantastic. Art-wise, you really feel like Batman's losing his mind. Just all the layouts. Writing-wise, it's fantastic as well. Even the framing device on either side of it is fantastic. I'm giving this one an 8 straight. 8.5, honestly. This might be like the strongest that this comic really has been, because it just, after everything that the previous issues have set up of Batman knows his stuff, this one just takes it all away from him, and it is so well done. I cannot begin to tell you the artistry that goes into it. You really just have to see it for yourself. So yeah, 8 for me. I've always been gushing on this, but I'm definitely looking forward to future issues as well.